Friends, if you are creating or editing your business analyst resume for your next job hunt, the key question that comes to your mind is what should I include in my resume to draw the attention of the hiring manager? Obviously, all the serious contenders of this job will asking the same questions to themselves and will highlight their achievements based on their understanding of the job. But there are few guidelines that will make your resume stands apart. A hiring manager or HR usually have only 20 to 30 seconds to select or reject a resume for the preliminary round, and there are some very specific things they are looking out in that time frame. Once selected, you still have a long way to go as your resume should appeal to all your subsequent interviewers. In this video, we are tapping right into the brain of an interviewer to understand what exactly he is looking for. Friends, turn on the caption of this video for better understanding and don't forget to like and subscribe for more similar upcoming business analyst videos in future. The very first important point is don't copy resume. So if you know your skills, experience, and your strength well, there is absolutely no reason why you should be copying someone else's resume or using sample resume over the internet. Using a specimen resume to get an idea about how to portray your case strongly is one thing, but ripping off completely paragraph from some unknown resume is a bad choice. Also, since hiring managers browse through hundreds of resumes every month, that similar summary or heading will get noticed immediately, and obviously your resume will land into the rejected pile. My biggest suggestion, make your own resume. It might take some more time and appear to be a demanding task, but in the end, you will discover many different ways to portray your expertise and achievements. Also, it will elevate your self confidence as each and every word in your resume is true and you have a supporting experience to describe that. An objective section just does the same thing to your resume what an elevator pitch does to a product. Highlight what exactly you are bringing onto the table. In this section, allow somebody to get a quick insight of your overall skills, experience, expertise, and values you believe in. It should be something that can be read in 10 to 15 seconds and should not exceed 70 to 80 words. Another important note is to tweak this section based on the responsibilities and guidelines of the job you are applying to. Showcase that you are not only qualified but excel in the skills required to get the job done. Now, this is one of the simplest amendments that you can do to your resume that will have the maximum impact. 80% of the resume go through as a hiring manager lacks a section highlighting a specialized skills or a technical expertise. Some managers have to patience to carefully study all the sections of a candidate's resume to ascertain his capabilities and suitability to the job, whereas others are just pressed against time. So it's in your hands to make things evident for your selectors and increase your chance of getting picked up for the preliminary round. So always list your technical skills and expertise. The things you should list in these sections are certification. So they add a lot of credibility to your candidature and should be highlighted first. Like if you're done CBAP or CCBA or PMI PBA, you should highlight all the certifications. Second, domain. Listing of all the domains you have experience in like banking, finance, and logistic. Methodologies. So you can mention software development methodologies like waterfall development, agile development, extreme programming, joint application development, and others. Then technology framework. List the technology used in the project you have worked as a business analyst like Java, PHP, .NET, business intelligence, web services, and web technologies. Testing. So a business analyst is also a functional tester in a way. So the tally should be like functional testing, load testing, data integration testing, automation testing, etc. Database. Any database tools you have a knowledge of like SQL, Oracle, 99, RDBMS. Then we have office skills. So catalog all your office skills like MS Visio, MS Project, Excel, MS Word, PowerPoint, Outlook. Then we have something called prototyping tools. So list down all the mockup tools you have used or if you have knowledge. So for example, we have Palace Make and Lucid Chart. If you have been successful in drawing the attention of a selector by listing your skills in the previous section, it's time to solidify your impression as an organized business analyst by emphasizing your relevance to the job being offered. So every resume is like a sales quotation, just like the first thing people look for in a sales is a quotation is a price. I look out for relevant skills and experience. And if I am not able to find a experience or a designation in the first page of a resume, it's very unlikely that I am going to turn any more pages. As an open secret, most of the resumes are not read but skimmed, and we want to lay out all our details in the easiest format possible. Take a look at some of the best tips on highlighting your relevant experience. So for example, in the stretch of past 5 years, if you have worked on 10 different contractual jobs, then there is no need to catalog all of them. Just list down only those jobs, responsibilities, and work experience match with the current job you are applying for. Doing this will make your case a lot stronger. Remember, you just have to underscore the experience relevant to the business analyst position and not detail things out. So refrain from over explanation, be precise. To seize the maximum attention, this section should not go beyond first page of your resume. So this skills and expertise section should include relevant experience as a business analyst in months, year, position held at various organizations till date, the designation, and a brief synopsis of the experience, specific explanation and precise example from your professional history that align with the job. I would suggest you guys to pause this video and look out for the example, the way it's been written over here. You can see in this example how the business analysis skills has been jotted down. Please spend some time and understand how this has been done. You can take the cue for the given example with respect to coordination skills, and you can also try something similar but of your own, the original thing which you have done so far. You see if your skills, strengths, and career progression is clearly laid out and properly segregated, it will send out an indication that you are a genuine candidate who has accumulated skills and expertise on his way up to the career ladder. If an executive is adept at his vocation, the verbosity of his profession will unintentionally show up in his resume, something interviewers love to see on an analyst's resume. Liberally use words like elicitation, requirement lifecycle management, functional, non-functional requirements, brainstorming, SWOT analysis, requirement modeling, ER diagram, requirement traceability matrix, requirement verification and validation, etc. So don't hold yourself thinking somebody at the hiring might not understand your language. They possess the basic understanding around these terms. Let me talk about a mistake I see in resume belonging to highly experienced business analyst, not giving details about the project they work upon. Some analysts might try to justify their rationale behind this act by saying like, well, you see, I have many 10 plus different projects I have worked upon, and giving a synopsis about each one of them will consume a lot of real estate on the resume and increase the span of the resume in multiple pages. Something nobody from the hiring or the interviewer team will like. Although the above statement might seem logical, there are two underlying flaws in this proposition. The hiring managers are very skilled in skimming, so they know which section to skip while going through your resume, and you have to be very selective in what you include on your resume and give detail about only those projects which you feel will make the most impact on your candidature. So why you should include the project details for your key project in your resume. So not all projects are of equal complexity, and an interviewer will want to learn what was the business scope of the project you work upon, who were the stakeholders involved, the project domain, the final outcome, post-project delivery. Giving a condensed 3 to 4 line project rundown will help them to do a comparative analysis and assess whether you will be suitable for handling complicated projects, liaise with clients, and perform other act of analysis. Another, although not so common but a mistake worth mentioning is not listing your experience chronologically starting with the latest designation you had. So any interviewer will be less interested in what you did in the past and more interested in what you are currently doing, as it will help them see what is your current skill set, how you gradually accumulated skill as you grew in your career, and how well you will be suited for the organization you are being interviewed for. So list all your designations from the latest to the earliest with the details of the projects. You have listed your designation, you have briefed them about your project. Now what next? Next comes what exactly you did at your job. This is often the weakest area on a resume and is usually a continuous rant of project responsibilities in bullet points with a flavor of a flashy, complex lines copied from sample resume over the internet. Please do not do such immature mistakes. Your interviewer are just too smart for that. If I am interviewing a candidate and came across 2 3 lines like this, I try to avoid them and not become judgmental. But sometimes candidates just go overboard, use complicated words and complex sentences which have no correlation with the project or their personality. Result, a very obvious rejection. Now the key to winning in this section is a tactical and honest approach toward showcasing what you actually did at your job as an analyst. So in your project synopsis, you have already listed down what was the business problem you were trying to solve as an analyst. Now each of the bullet points should be planned, logically explanation of what you did to achieve that. So for example, if you have handled the business requirement related communication within the team, you might portray it as responsible for immaculate communication flow for the project's business requirement. However, the gravity and the extent of communications handled is not clearly portrayed by the statement above. Therefore, we should highlight it by rephrasing the statement as responsible for immaculate communication flow pertaining to the project's business requirement between 20 plus personnel team dispersed across 4 divisions and 3 geographic locations. You have noticed the difference between both the statements? We are now going to discuss one characteristic that is present only in the resume of a seasoned and a proficient business analyst. Business analyst is a detail and a result-oriented profession. During all the elicitation, analysis, documentation, and coordination activities, an analyst should give attention to detail and it should produce tangible results that add value to the existing system, process, and products. The same quality of being detail oriented have to reflect in your resume, and each of your bullet points should clearly describe how you achieved something, what process you incorporated, what best practices you utilized, what technique you implemented. Just by reading the above statement, an interviewer can apprehend that it's written by a business analyst who is clearly aware of his responsibilities, knows what need to be done to fulfill them, and most importantly, he knows how to do that. Your resume will stand out and speak volumes about your competency as an analyst if each of your bullet point answered these what and how. Last but far from the least is including your academic qualification as well as your personal details. You should be careful about how much information you might want to give here, and a safe bet will be like the list, the one below. Academic qualification, name of the degree certificate course, name of the institute college, name of the board university, year of passing, percentage scored, personal details, date of birth, father names, nationality, language known, marital status, passport number. So just to sum up, in our professional experience in the information technology world, we pick a lot of skills. However, all of your skills might not appeal to a selector. Based on the job offered, they are in a lookout of a very specific skill set, and their eyes prefer to see only those details that stand relevant to them. Therefore, there could not be a general resume that you can utilize in every position of a business analyst. To maximize your chances of taking the initial as well as the future round of interviews, you need to be a careful study of what kind of experience the job wants. Utilize the knowledge shared above and model your complete resume around your relevant skills. Friends, if you learned something new today, please hit a like. And if you are new to this channel, please subscribe for future videos. Thanks. Have a nice day.